Have you ever reached the end of something, like a job, a season of life, a chapter in your heart, and felt both relief and uncertainty? Like part of you wants to close the door fast, but the other part feels scared because you don't know what's next or what's waiting on the other side. Maybe you've even asked, God, are you shifting my season or am I just tired? Today we're going to talk about how to tell the difference and how to follow the peace of God, not just the relief of escape. And by the end of this episode, you'll discover how to recognize a season shift, close out your current chapter with intentionality, and take the first bold step toward what's next, without rushing, without fear, and with the faith as your compass. Welcome to The Communication Architect, the podcast that equips you to grow, step into courage, and live with purpose. I'm your host, Tanera Linvall, teacher, author, and your coach in communication and personal growth. Each week, we dive into strategies for building trust, speaking truth, mastering your mindset, and creating those habits that move you forward into your purpose. This is the place where communication moves from theory to real life. Here, biblical truth meets everyday challenges, and where you'll discover how to turn faith into action, challenges into clarity, and everyday life into a journey of courage and fulfillment. Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast. I'm so excited because today is a special episode. Today we're titling it, Every Ending is an Invitation to a New Beginning. It's going to be our season 1 finale. Oh, I know. This will be the last one for season 1. We will pick up on season 2 come January. And we're taking a moment in this episode to reflect, celebrate breakthroughs, and look forward to what's ahead. Our focus today on finishing strong and beginning anew. And how do you recognize the end of a season? How do you close out the year well and prepare yourself spiritually, mentally, and practically for the next chapter? We'll explore stories of courage, patience, and intentional action. And I'm excited to give you a preview of Season 2 launching January 8th, 2026, with tools and strategies to tackle fear, perfectionism, and procrastination, and what is true productivity. So then, before we look ahead, guys, let's pause and let's reflect on season 1. Let's think about the breakthroughs, the challenges, and the lessons that we've experienced and learned along the way. So the truth is, life is so full of seasons. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." Recognizing a season shift isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's a quiet nudge, a sense of restlessness, or the feeling that what once worked no longer brings fulfillment. Other times it's a loud wake-up call. Circumstances change, opportunities appear, or God opens a door maybe you weren't expecting. But here's the key question I want to ask. Has the peace of God lifted from where you are? Not just your comfort, but His peace. You see, many of us crave relief from discomfort, maybe from a job, a relationship, a situationship, or just a situation or circumstance in our life. But relief and release are not the same thing. Relief says, get me out of here. And release says, God, I'll stay until you send your peace to go. When God releases you, guys, you're gonna know it. His peace will go before you, and you'll leave that season wanting the best for the people or the place that you're leaving behind. That's how you know you're moving with His timing, not just your frustration. So I had a friend once who was restless in her career. And she could have jumped ship early just for the relief to get out. But instead, she prayed, she waited on the peace of God, and she listened for God's release. And when it came, she left with peace, not bitterness. And that peace became the bridge to her new opportunities in life. Waiting is a skill. Patience is courage. And God often calls us to finish strong in the current season before stepping fully into the next one. And guys, rushing through your season just because you're uncomfortable, you're in discomfort, you are looking for relief, when we rush through closing that door, it will lead to regret. It comes with the price of looking back and playing that I should have game. It leads to wasted effort, frustration, and sadly, it leads to missed opportunities. In order to finish strong, we have to evaluate, reflect, and act intentionally. So I want to encourage you to reflect on the wins and the lessons. What went well in that season? What didn't? How have you grown? Celebrate the wins you had. Acknowledge the lessons that you learned through that season and ask God to reveal to you what is next. So, there was a young lady I coached once, and she ended her year feeling really frustrated, convinced she hadn't achieved enough. And instead of letting that disappointment take over, we spent time reviewing what she had accomplished. As she reflected, she realized she'd made significant progress in areas she had overlooked or honestly undervalued. And focusing on what she did achieve began to overshadow the shame and the self criticism that we all do for what she hadn't done. So, too often, guys, we do get stuck looking at what's missing, at what's incomplete, and what we wish we'd accomplished. But until we pause to honor the wins that we did make, we can't accurately assess the areas for growth or improvement. And once Rebecca shifted her perspective and celebrated her progress, it renewed her energy, it empowered her to finish the year strong, and it set her up to step boldly into the next season with clarity and confidence. So if you feel stuck, maybe you're just overlooking the growth you've already achieved this season. Which then brings me to the next point. Clear out what no longer serves you, such as habits, mindsets, commitments, or even relationships that drain you or keep you stuck. So let me tell you about another client that kept saying yes to everything in order to avoid conflict. It made her feel like she was being, quote, productive. But guys, in reality, she had allowed busyness and the feeling it gives of being needed and important to replace the fulfillment that productivity towards your purpose provides. By the end of the season, she worked to remove the non-essential busyness and distractions that masqueraded as productivity. You know that kind, the kind that makes you look like you're moving forward, but really leaves you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually exhausted by Thursday. But when she finally cleared her schedule of the quote good things that weren't God things, then she rediscovered her peace and her focus. So, guys, this brings me to that third point, which is you need to set intentional goals for the next season. Think about what you want to carry forward and what new step you're ready to take. Philippians 3:13 through 14 says, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead, I press toward the goal. Finishing strong isn't about perfection. It's about being intentional, present, and faithful in closing steps of the season. It's really about obedience and alignment to your yes to God. It is your preparation that now creates momentum for what's coming next. Every ending is an invitation to a new beginning. But guys, beginnings require courage and patience. So, let's talk about courage. Stepping into the unknown, taking a risk, starting a project, or saying no to comfort to pursue purpose. Guys, that is courageous. But here's where many of us get tripped up. We confuse comfort with peace. Just because something feels comfortable doesn't mean it's wrong. Sometimes peace walks you right into discomfort, into growth, into challenge, and dependence on God. Comfort keeps you where you are, but it's peace that leads you where you're called. So let me share with you a story. So I had a coaching client once, and she was ready to leave her secure, comfortable role in her high paying job and start a ministry. At first, there was fear and uncertainty that were just overwhelming to her. The first few months were not peaceful in the natural. There were sleepless nights, doubts, financial fears, all of the what if questions. Those questions that plague you at night, they plague your thoughts, they keep you up. But it was the peace of God that was steady beneath the surface of all of the fear of the unknown. It was that peace that became her anchor through the discomfort of her obedience. That's the thing I want to just accentuate, is that obedience is not always comfortable. In fact, I might say the opposite, that obedience is always uncomfortable. Obedience is discomfort. And so she allowed the peace of God to be her anchor while she was uncomfortable in doing and being obedient to that peace and to that word of God. It was each small step that she took that became momentum towards something greater than just comfort. It was in pursuing that scary thing that led to her fulfillment and personal growth in her life. So let's talk about that peace and that patience. So waiting on the right season instead of running from discomfort of maybe you're uncomfortable in your job or you're uncomfortable in a relationship or a situation and you're pursuing relief. So instead of running from discomfort in pursuit of that relief, sometimes you need to allow God to close that door to lead you to the right path. But if we act too early, we risk confusion, we risk burnout, and misalignment to our purpose and God's timing. We want to allow there to be patience to say, God, I'm looking for your release from this moment, and I'm not just looking for relief from the situation. And let's take action. So don't get stuck in reflection and examination. Yes, allow space to sit, to reflect, to examine, to evaluate, to wait on God's word of release. You can count the cost of the tower until the cows come home. But eventually, guys, you do have to pull the trigger. So when it comes time to pull the trigger, begin again with intentional steps. Start small if you need to. Take one concrete action, make that one call, write out the plan, pray one focused prayer. Write down what is that step that as God is giving you release from the situation, then say, okay, what is my one step to move into? So if you're stepping into a new season and it feels unfamiliar, it feels uncomfortable, don't immediately say, well, there must not be peace, so it must not be God. Check it again. It might be that discomfort wearing a new uniform. It seriously is that I just want to say that the peace of God and comfort are not the same thing, okay? Patience means waiting for the release, not relief, okay? Action means moving forward when peace says go, even if comfort says stay. Because comfort and calling do not live at the same address. So this brings me to 3 challenges I have for you guys this week. All right, the 3 action steps to close out your current season and prepare for what's coming next. So, number 1, sit down with a pen and paper, and I want you to reflect on these questions. Number 1, what has God been teaching you in this past season? So, this one that you're getting ready to close out, what has God been showing you? What has He been teaching you? And the second question to answer is, where have you sensed His peace? And where do you feel like His peace has lifted? It is left. Number 2 is I want you to answer these 2 questions on release. What are you clinging to out of comfort or fear that you need to let go of? Ask God if it's time to let go now, or is it time to wait? And number 3, respond. What one step of faith can you take this week toward what the Lord is preparing for you next? What is your first step to move into this new season? What is the thing that scares you, but it aligns with God's purpose and call for you in this season, this new season you're moving into? Make a concrete plan this week for that one action step. Write it down. Schedule when you'll do it. Tell somebody so they can keep you accountable towards that movement. And then pray about it. Pray for the courage, pray for the wisdom, pray for the divine appointments you need. 2 Timothy 1:7 states, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Guys, you have the power of God, the love of God, and the peace of God, the sound mind, to step in with courage towards the action steps to that thing that scares you. Let this truth guide your first step into this new season. All right, guys, as we're closing out season 1, I want to remind you, season 2 will launch Thursday, January 8th, 2026, and we're going to explore overcoming fear, letting go of perfectionism, breaking the myth of busyness, and crushing procrastination to achieve our God-given goals. We'll also talk about, I'm launching my new book, Decision Day, an unapologetic guide to what really holds you back and how to finally move forward. I'm also developing right now a 90-day action planner as a companion guide so that you can walk through both the book and those actions together. Season 2 will help you integrate your faith, your focus, and courage to move into everyday action and long-term growth. So if you're ready for personal coaching, connect with me at communicationarchitect.org. You will find free resources and books to assist you in growth and information on how to jump into a guided coaching program that will empower your success. So thank you for joining me for season 1. I am so proud of each step you've taken, each conversation you've braved, and each fear you've faced. If you would like more on the topic of boundaries from season 1, you can get my new book, The Fine Art of Saying No, on Amazon today. As you close the season, remember, finish strong and start new. Take one small step forward to that thing that scares you and watch the courage and the peace of God guide you. Do it with intentionality. Every end is an invitation to a new beginning. Until season 2, reflect, act courageously, and believe Philippians 4:13 that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.